Hi there, my name is Delmar MacLean and I'm a member of Toastmasters International. Now I know that as Toastmasters, I'm sure you're very interested in learning how to prepare and present an effective speech. Well, today I'm going to talk about that very subject. I'm going to show you how to prepare and present an effective speech using a very concrete example. I'm a person with vision loss, and I'm also employed with CNIB Vision Loss Rehabilitation Ontario. And as such, I'm very interested in employment issues and challenges that persons who are blind and partially sighted face in terms of finding employment and strategies that can be put in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that concrete example to use to show you how to prepare and present that effective speech. Now, an important part of writing a good speech is coming up with what you're going to talk about, thinking about what you're going to talk about, and then, of course, going to do research. Now, maybe you would like to do research by walking through a bookstore, taking a look at different types of books or materials. Perhaps you go to the library, or perhaps you can do your research at home on your own computer. And I can just, of course, brainstorm and write down my ideas. Now, an effective speech has an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Now, let's say that after I do all of my research, I have these key points, that only about 30% of people who are blind or partially sighted in Canada have employment compared to the larger fully sighted population. I find also that there are many people unemployed because employers have negative attitudes or misinformed attitudes about hiring people who have vision loss. Say that I also find out that there are many ways which this can be overcome, including one important way is that blind and partially sighted people can communicate their needs more effectively, and then that there are all kinds of adaptive devices that can be used to help the person perform effectively. As simple as using a magnifier or a special task light to make their desk area brighter. And perhaps if the vision is more severe, you could use special computer technology. There's a program called Zoom Text, which enlarges text on the computer screen, or there's also a program called JAWS, wherein there's a voice that tells you everything that's on the computer screen, so that even if you have no vision, you can interact with the computer in the same way as a sighted person would. Of course, they need to effectively show the employer that they can access these devices and how they would go about doing that. In my conclusion, I would go back and explain that I talked about the problem, the low employment rate, about the misunderstanding between persons with vision loss and employers, things that can be put in place to improve the situation, the applicants communicating more effectively as to their needs, and of course using adaptive devices that can help them perform effectively in the workplace employment. And I would explain that using these strategies, that both parties will be happier. Employer that gets someone who performs successfully, and of course the person who's blind or partially sighted will be happy because they'll have a job and they'll feel fulfilled and they'll be contributing to society. That, my friends, is how you do a solid speech. An introduction, remember, tell us what you're going to talk about it, and then finally reflect on it, review what you've talked about, and come to an effective conclusion. Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters, and I hope this helps everyone.